Okay, the purpose of this video is to demonstrate how to create a 3-view rough sketch of the MiniBarn project. So what we're looking at here is the model of the MiniBarn. It's 3/4 inch equals 1 foot scale, and you can see it's just a pretty typical gambrel truss, gambrel roofed MiniBarn. It has a door in one end, as you can see. It has a window in the other end, and it has this particular barn roof shape right here. Okay, that's what we call a gambrel. Some of the other specifications here, the total length of the barn from left to right here is 12 feet, 12 scale feet. Total height from the top to the bottom of the barn here is, from this point here to there, is 8 feet. And then we have a total width from this point here over as 8 feet. So those are some of the main specifications of the barn. Now, some other things here that we need to consider too is that we've got these this wall system right here, and then the roof system above it here are all spaced exactly 16 inches apart. And so as we're doing our planning work here, we're going to have to figure out how many studs that means if we're going to space them 16 inches apart. So that's the introduction here, and we'll follow up with some more discussion about the 3-view rough sketch itself. Okay, as I said earlier, we're going to have a little bit of discussion about how many studs we're going to need along this wall system right here. Okay, and the way we do that is we know that this wall system there is 12 feet long, and that the stud spacing there is spaced exactly 16 inches apart. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to do some quick calculations here. So I know that the barn is 12 feet long, okay, and that's going to turn into, if I go ahead and find out how many inches, I'm going to go ahead and multiply that by 12, and that'll give me 144 inches. And then I'm going to go ahead and take 144 there, and then I'm going to divide that by 16. And so that's going to give me, so I'm going to divide that by 16, and that'll equal 9 stud pockets, okay? Now, these 9 stud pockets here, if you take a look back on the model here, these are the spaces in between each one of the studs. Those are called stud pockets. So we're going to need 9 stud pockets there, but if we count the endmost piece and this endmost piece here, we'll end up with 10 wall studs, okay? So that's one of the things that we need to go ahead and consider when we're going ahead and drawing this rough sketch. And so that's another piece of the puzzle, and we're going to go ahead and start the sketch next, right after this calculation. Okay, armed with the fact that we know that now we need to have 9 stud pockets here for our MiniBarn, what we're going to do is we're going to begin drawing this here. So we're going to take a sheet of paper, and it's 8.5 by 11, just a blank sheet of paper. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start the drawing process. Now we need 3 views here. We're going to start with the front view in the lower left-hand corner. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a rough rectangle here representing the side of the MiniBarn here. And I can't get too wild with its dimensions here, or how big it is, because I need to fit right side view over here and then a top view up here. Now, as I said earlier here, we've got this MiniBarn here, and we need to go ahead and figure out 9 stud pockets. The question is how do we draw that out on the paper? So the easiest way I found to do this here is go ahead and identify midpoint, just like that, on either side. And then I go ahead and start thinking about, well, what if I had to divide this into 9 equal pieces? Well, I would go ahead and estimate what 1/9 of this might be, and then draw this right here, just like that, around the midpoint. Well, what that does, it leaves me 2 open spaces here where I need 4 open slots here, or 4 stud pockets here, 4 stud pockets here. Well, that's really easy. All I have to do then is just go ahead and divide that into 4, just like that. And then I just draw my lines down like this. And then I do the same to the opposite side, midpoint, and then divide that in half again. That'll give me 4ths. And then I'm just going to draw 4 equal pieces in here like that. So looking here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, according to what we looked at here, see, we got the bridge, we got the MiniBarn here. We've got a stud wall there that's half the height of the barn. So I'm going to draw in a line like this, indicating the top of the side walls here. Okay, and so that's the front view. Okay, pretty simple. All right, now I'm going to give myself a little bit of space here. I'm going to project up some dots there. I'm going to go ahead. The depth of the barn is the same distance as its height. So if this is going to be 8, then that's going to be 8 as well. And so I'm going to close up this rectangle like that. And this, of course, looking down on the object there, as if I was looking at it like, it's hard to see there at the model, but looking down on it. So anyway, the roof trusses, which would be the thing that I would be viewing up here in the top view, are basically in the same position as the wall studs. So I'm just projecting up some lines here, some dots there indicating where the studs need to go, and the trusses on top of them, okay? So now I'm just going to draw some lines across here like this. And see, it's a rough sketch. We're just kind of getting an idea where everything needs to fit on the page and how all these pieces need to fit together. And so if I've done this correctly, I should have 9 stud pockets here also, and these will be the tops of the roof trusses. Now, as we talked about earlier there, we got this funny shaped roof there. It's called a gambrel roof. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and indicate the peak of the roof here by drawing a series of dots down the center of this here. And these would be the roof peaks, okay? Now you remember the gambrel there, when we talked about the gambrel, we said that it's got several roof peaks here. We got one here in the center, we got these 2 on the side here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a couple of dots, sets of dots here, about 1/3 the distance in. And those represent the secondary roof peak. So a gambrel has really 3 roof peaks on it, okay? And so I'm just drawing this in roughly, just trying to go ahead and show where these roof peaks are located in the top view as well. So I'm going to put the label top up here as like this. All right, so we're making good progress here. Now the right side view, once again, what I'm going to do is just project over, so I know I want to leave a little bit of room between my views. So I know the height of it here because I've already identified it in the front view, and so now I'm going to go ahead. I know it's the same distance here, so it's 8 feet this way. So I'm going to have really roughly a square here. Now I'm not going to draw in the square because obviously, you know, when I take a look at the model, it's not square. It's got a gambrel on it. But I am going to go ahead and put the sidewalls in like this, and I know where their location is because I can project them over from the front view. And then I'm going to go ahead and connect up the bottom just like that. Now, the gambrel, that's the barn-shaped roof here. What I'm going to do is identify the main roof peak right there. And then all I have to do at this point is kind of sketch in with that shape. And so what I'm going to do here is kind of draw a dot like right here in line with this. Like say if I had a dot here and an imaginary diagonal line here, that roof peak is going to be right on that diagonal. And so I'm just sketching in what a gambrel might look like. Imaginary diagonal, putting a dot right there, going ahead and drawing a gambrel like that. And then the doorway here, we're going to just go ahead and center up a doorway. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of eyeball it, what it's supposed to look like, something like that, just like we talked about here earlier. So anyway, that's the right side there, so that wasn't too bad. And so now I'm going to start dimensioning this thing up. Now the doorway we said was 4 foot by 6 foot. So I'm going to put in a dimension here, 4 feet, extension and dimension lines, just like we always do. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the height of the door here. I'm going to set it at 6 feet. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the overall dimensions in here. So a couple of extension lines. I'm going to make this 12 feet long. I'm going to draw my arrows out here so they're touching the extension lines. And I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of extension lines here for the height. The height is set at 8. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a couple of dimension lines there. And then the depth can go in one of these 2 places here. I think I'm going to put it right here just to kind of clear up the drawing a little bit. All right, so we got 8 feet there. And don't forget your arrowheads. All right, so yeah, it looks like we need a title block in here. I think in your instructions it says title block down below, but in this case here, I'm just going to put it at the top, and you just need a few pieces of information. You just need your name, so, and today's date. Let's see, it'd be, let's see, what is the date? Yeah, it's 3/20. And then we're going to call this 3-view rough sketch. All right, and that's how you complete your first sketch there of your mini barn, 3V rough sketch. Good luck with your drawing.